Hey y'all, welcome to the Wizard's Table podcast. I'm your host, Ken Allen, and that beautiful lady right there is your host, Mistress to the B bitches. Y'all better recognize her. What's up,
Like this,
Mistress B? How you doing, honey?
I'm good. I'm stressed. Went through a move, went through COVID, the whole nine, but I'm feeling better. I'm all moved in, so I'm able to get settled now.
So you are stressed because of the move?
Yes, sir.
Well, okay, all right. Before we introduce our guest, I got to find out what the hell's going on with you. Because you and I, let's be honest, we haven't talked in a couple weeks, like really talked, right?
No, not at all, and I hate it.
Yeah, I do too. You need to come and visit a hoe. But anyway, actually, I'm not a hoe. Only I was a hoe in the '90s, but I'm not a hoe no more. Anyway, um, so what's going on with your move?
It was just stressful because we were supposed to move out one date and then it got pushed to another date and then it got pushed to another date. And you think that that would be easier for us because we'd have more time, but it just made it worse for me because I was all prepped and ready to go. And then it's just been a mess, but it's all done now. And so I'm just trying to calm down from all that and get settled again.
Take a breath.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. Take a breath, do some Buddhist mantras, some Hindu mantras, whatever. Make the sign of the cross if that makes you feel better. Praise God, hell Satan, whatever. Whatever works, girl.
They
But
say that moving is one of the stressful things in it, besides getting a divorce.
Yeah,
really,
well, I've never
Yeah.
gotten a divorce, but I'm pretty sure
Well,
that
I
is
have.
one of the most stressful
That's
things
right.
I've ever done.
that's right. Sophia has
Yeah.
she has dealt with that. So
Yeah.
But all right. Hi, everybody. Nothing but
Hi.
love from the Wizards Table podcast. We love each and every one of you guys. And I'm chewing gum because I'm not smoking. I'm not smoking. I'm chewing gum. So it is what it is. But we're glad you're here. We love each and every one of you. And Sophia Bierman, thank you for joining us tonight. So we got so much shit to talk about, baby. We're going to talk about the Beast of Bray Road. We're going to talk about the Imp, and we got some footage that you recorded last night. You had an invasion, more or less, right?
Something came up to my back door, and it stood there, and then it came into the garage and walked up the carpet because I don't like getting on because I walk out there with my dog to begin with, so it's concrete under there and it's cold. So I had my husband put a piece of carpeting down. So when I walk out there in my socks and let the dog out, I'm not cold. So that's why the carpet's there. But normally I have my car parked there and I moved it out because he's doing something in our bathroom, the master bathroom. He's remodeling it. So then I saw these footprints this morning. I said, "Did you do that?" I said, "Were you outside already?" He said, "No." So my dog isn't that big. She's got little bitty tiny feet. I had to measure her feet one time to get her boots last year, and she's only got maybe 2 inches across. That's how big her feet are.
You know what?
So something came into the garage, stood there and walked up, and then I don't know where it went.
Well, and we were backstage. We were talking about this a little bit, and I had mentioned, and we'll talk about this too. I had mentioned the possibility of it being the Imp. So actually, before we get into the Beast of Bray Road and all that, good shit or whatever, let's talk about the Imp. Let's talk about that.
Okay. That was maybe 2 years ago, and it was about 3:30 in the morning, and I was all of a sudden I woke up and I look, and this thing is beside my dresser in the bedroom, and I could see it, and it was about I don't know, maybe 3 feet tall, but it had 2 round balls, and it smiled at me, and it had little horns, and its tail was wagging back and forth. You know how obviously how dogs wag their tail and how
Yes.
they move their little rear end. Well, he was doing the same thing to me. I'm going to call it a male because that's what I felt like it was. And it just smiled at me and I was like, oh, I just looked at it. I opened up my eyes and I saw it, and it kind of stood up, and then it stood back down, and it just smiled at me and like, I'm here. And I said, get out of here. What am I going to do? That's what he says to me. Well, what do you do? get the heck out of here.
Oh,
And that's what I said to it, get out of here. And I just watched it. What am I going to do? I mean, I have weird stuff that happens around my house all the time. I think these things are drawn to me
They are drawn to you. And I
because
guarantee you they're drawn to you because of what you are. You are a psychic medium. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass, but baby, you're a powerful psychic medium. And that's a fact.
well, I told people too, it's getting stronger as I'm getting older.
Absolutely. It
I
always
mean,
does.
it freaks me out because I did a reading for a kid the other night too, and his mother was deceased,
Mm.
and I could feel her pain. It was really weird. I could just feel her pain, and I saw her, what she looked like, and we can go over that too. But it was just like it was so strong, the bond that they had had, and then knowing that she passed away, um, I could just feel her pain. And when I saw her, she had her hands out, and she was blowing hearts to me.
oh,
It was
Yeah.
it was strange. I've never seen anybody do that before, but she held her hands out, her palms out to me, and I could see red hearts. They were just pouring out. And she was just crying. I said, "Don't cry." I said, telepathically. I said, "I will get these messages to your son." And she thanked me, tell him thank you for reaching out to somebody like me so she could talk to me to get the message across to him.
That's
'Cause
right.
he was
That's right.
devastated.
oh yeah, I can imagine.
He was a young man, and I thought, "Oh my God, I can feel the bond between these two, and the devastation that she passed." And I could feel. I didn't ask her, but I could feel she died from cancer. And then
Yeah.
he said to me, uh, "Can I send you a picture of her? What she looked like?" I said, "Yeah, I want to see the comparison what I saw and what she looked like." And I said to him, "That's her." I said, "But the picture I saw was she's older." He said, "You're right." I'm like, okay. So it was just really strange.
That is, but it's
So
also it's a special time and a special experience to be able to use your gift to connect people. And it's
Yeah, to
so,
relay it to them.
yeah,
absolutely.
it's so powerful.
Well, they call it, medium, but it's like a go-between and get that message to him.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel when I do tarot readings is they get
Yeah.
really, really intense. And usually the person who I'm reading for will cry because it's that message that they didn't know that they needed to hear.
Well, this
Yeah.
one I started crying too, and I thought I can't do this. I've got to follow through and get this because you could, like I said, I've never felt this intense of a pain before. I mean, these two were just hurting. I mean, I told my husband too. I said, if you could feel what I felt, I mean, it was like on my heart. It was really strange. It was on my heart. And I told him that too. I said, I could feel your mother's pain. I mean, she was so upset. She said, I left suddenly. And I didn't get to say goodbye to my son. And I said, well, I'll tell him all this. Here, I'm typing it, as fast as I can in an instant message to him because he wasn't on. And then later on, he came on and he said, is she there yet? I said, no, she's gone. And he asked me if she went to heaven. I said, no, she's here. She's here with you. I
Mhm.
said, and she
Yeah.
told me to tell you to believe. I said, so you need to believe. And then he tells me that she's Cherokee Indian. And some of them obviously don't have the gift like I do. You assume most of them in that, like the Native Americans would have, telepathy or a third eye. I call it my third eye. But he didn't. I said, well, she told me to tell you to believe. I said, which means to me that she can hear you.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
said, you talk to her and she can hear you. I said, but you need to practice trying to be a medium. Talk to her because she'll hear you. So
Yeah.
the other night I'm sitting out here and it was late. It was midnight, no noise in the house. I went in to use the bathroom, excuse me, and I left the door open. And I heard a woman's voice. Plain as day. And I said, I heard you.
That's so
trying to get
fun.
him to talk to me.
Yeah.
I said, I heard you. And it's just like, and I told my girlfriend, I said, it was a woman. I could tell it was in the 50s or 60s. Her voice, just the way it was. And it was just strange. but I caught her talking in 2 sentences.
That's beautiful, though.
I mean, it's like,
Excuse me.
oh my God.
Sophia Bierman.
Yeah.
Holy shit, girl. Psychic medium. Yeah, you have so many so much shit to offer to the paranormal community with regards to what you have seen, what you have experienced, and what you live on a daily basis.
Yep.
The imp, the beast of Bray Road, as a psychic medium, all the stuff that comes to you, and I guarantee you that most of these spirits come to you because you are a psychic medium. 99.9% of the time they do that because you are a psychic medium. They're drawn to you. They're like, it's like a magnet. Yeah.
Yep. That's what they said. But you wanted to talk about the imp, and I told you to get out of there in my bedroom. And this, I've told people before, this was the only thing that's ever really scared me, was this imp. I don't know if you ever read up on imps, but they can take people's souls.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. They collect souls. So I know how it got to my house. One of my sisters was over, and I have a twin sister that we don't get along. And she was over at her house. And, anybody that you're around that's negative, that follows you. And I don't know if you know, that's how poltergeists are created, is through negativity. But she was over there.
Well, that's one of many ways, baby.
Yep. But she was over there. Then she came to my house. And I'm like, oh, no. You're helping me get rid of this thing. I'm not kidding. Because they're hard to get rid of. If you don't get rid of them right away, obviously they hang around. And then I went over where she was staying. I said, you're coming back with me. And you're going to help me get rid of this thing. So we double teamed the house, and we had holy water here. I have a pretty big house. It's 27 square feet up and 27 square feet down. So her and I went through the house and blessed it. And I made her follow me and say the same thing, because she's the one that brought it here. So most of the time when people bring those things to your home, or you know how they traveled, it's easier to get rid of them if you can find the person who you think brought it to your house. And that's what I told her. I said, you're coming back with me. So she did. She followed me. And then we went and did this to the house, and I got rid of it.
Wow, that's awesome.
But that, like I said, that was the only thing that really scared me, because I know what they can do. Here's
something I would like to do, Mistress B. Since we're still on the subject of imps, and okay, an imp is a low-level demon, okay? As a sorcerer, as an occultist, I work with demons. I also work with angels on occasion. And of course, the jinn. Everybody who knows the wizard's table knows that shit. But an imp is a low-level demon. Yes, they can create all kind of crazy shit. They can create all kind of horrors. They're just annoying. They're like fleas in your hair, They are. They're not the very powerful. They're just aggravating as hell. They're like parasites and shit. But I would like to play. I would like to play the. I would like to play the video of what you captured last. Can you go into that real quick before we play it, if you don't mind, Sophia?
The one from last night?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because I just happened to record it just before this afternoon. I thought I'm going to record this, and I just walked out this morning. I thought, where those red footprints come from? I'm looking, they just look like they went one way, but then you can see in the door frame, they're facing my door to come in. And if you look at them, it looks like one walked in front of the other, upright.
Yep.
And did you notice that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And I thought, I don't know if they're going to see that or not, but you can see it stood at the door, right in front of the door. And my door is always locked. My service door is always locked. I drive a Mercedes. My husband drives a brand new truck. And I thought, I don't have in my garage. So it was, I don't know how it got in.
Okay.
It must have walked through the door. Had to have.
Must have. And you can see that in the clip. So we're going to show this clip for you guys, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. But here's the clip.
I want to show you something. If you see these little red things here, look. These little prints showed up sometime last night after 2:00. They aren't leaves either. They're not the redness from the leaf. If you take a look, they come to my back door. And then it's here and there and there. And there's another one there. And some more here. But this one is not big enough for those footprints. But like I said, I walked out this morning and I found these things. Footprints. Look at this. I don't have another dog. Isabel is my own dog. But it came into my house, whatever it was, after 2 or 3 o'clock. This is really freaking creepy. I asked my husband if he did it. He said no. Of course, he wasn't up before me, but I find this really strange. It looks like something came into my house last night. You guys know that I'm a psychic medium, and this is just kind of freaking me out.
And you can tell that they aren't leaves or regular footprints because they're not evenly spaced. They're not the same color. You know, they don't really.
Well, and I have two of them side by side.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And then you know what I did before I took that video? I took a leaf, those maple leaves over here, and I rubbed it on the ground.
Mm.
Pressed it on the ground to make sure that the color doesn't come off. What I know it doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, like, you can tell that it's not like human footprints or dog footprints because the spacing isn't the same length. Like, there's no way your dog could have gone from one of the more faded ones because they space out so wide.
My
She's
dirt
so
isn't
tiny.
red. My dirt isn't red around here.
Yeah,
like in Arkansas it is.
You know what you should do, baby?
What?
You should cut some of that fucking carpet, some of those fibers. No, I'm serious.
I will.
And send that shit off. Send that shit off to be analyzed.
Yeah.
Because there have been situations where people have found strange.
Looks like hooves, right, Laura?
Huh?
Looks like hooves. There's a Laura that said it looks like hooves, and that's exactly what I thought.
Right.
It looked like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. I was thinking it does have that
Yep.
hoof in
Right.
shape for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And that would be very, very,
it's
very,
rounded, you know,
very,
and then kind of flat.
yes.
But it's like, what's
very
that?
indicative of an imp. Hey, Chris, how you doing, baby? Nothing but love. Bigfoot and the Bunny. Bigfoot and the Bunny, real quick. Bigfoot and the Bunny is a podcast. They're fucking awesome. Check them out always, always and forever. Chris Carr, Kristen Johnson, Bigfoot and the Bunny. I swear I'm going to make a jingle for those guys. But anyway, take that shit and get that shit analyzed, okay? Because there have been instances of demonic hauntings, et cetera, where people will take the ectoplasmic residue and get that shit analyzed. And guess what? It comes back as hemoglobin, concentrated hemoglobin.
Interesting.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Blood, you mean? Blood.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what I'm like, why is it red? I thought, this is really weird.
Yeah.
It does. It looks like blood.
Yeah.
Mama
Something.
Cat. Yes.
But,
Bigfoot and the Bunny are
I
awesome.
did not get in the house because I locked the inside door to the garage.
Do you salt your doors or protect your house in any way?
I do. And that's what I said because of that little imp and other incidents that I have had around the house. It's like, no.
She said that little imp.
But I love that you say that like a curse word.
I have,
Right.
don't want to hear me otherwise. I have crosses above the door frames.
Mhm.
Oh, good.
And I've had to put them up before because Ken heard me speak because there was an incident where a woman had an attachment
Mhm.
and something was sent to my house.
Mm.
Literally sent to my house. And then some of my crosses disappeared in our hot tub room. So
Whoa.
I had to put them back. So that's why, some of them will disappear sometime. And I take tape now. They're little bitty like crosses you put on bracelets.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I tape them literally above the door frame so nobody can see them.
Oh, good.
But I reach up there once in a while to make sure they're there.
Mm-hmm.
and all the doors. I mean, the inside and the outside, like in my kids' bedrooms and stuff like that, all over the place. And I put them on the window frames
Yeah.
because they can
Yeah.
still get through glass.
Oh, of course. And that's the proper way to do it. You put it
Yeah.
over the window frames, you put it over the door, over the doors or whatever. And me and you were talking
Right.
earlier. Here's the thing. Get you some eggshell powder, okay?
Okay.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, get you
I
some
never heard of
eggshell
that.
powder. Yeah, it's a hoodoo thing. Now,
Okay.
hoodoo is I'm not
Well,
going to get
I know
into
what that is now because I
okay.
had an experience with that woman.
Get you some eggshell powder, all right?
I
And
don't know if your co-host knows about that, but it was just that was something else with the lady from New Orleans that went down to
go
New
ahead,
Orleans.
tell her about it. Tell her
Okay.
about it.
It what had happened was I got an instant message from a woman by the name of Tyler. She told me she had an attachment and she said her life was not going very well. I said, okay. I said, that's all I need to know. I said, okay. I said, this incident that happened with you was about 15 years ago, wasn't it? She said, yes, it was. And I said, your life has been horrible since. She said, it is. I said, especially in your love area.
Mhm.
And she said, yeah. She said, that's what I'm concerned with. I said, okay. So then I'm talking to her, and people don't have to tell me much because I can see it. And then I said to her, I said, just a minute, you were a stewardess, weren't you? She said, I was. She said, and I quit. I said, okay, but you were down in New Orleans. You had a layover. I said, that's where it was, wasn't it? And she said, yes, it was. I said, okay, and that 15-year mark. I said, and I can see you. You're coming out of a hotel. I said, and it's got marble floors and the ceilings are curved. I said, and the hotel is yellow and the archways are painted white. I said, you're walking through there with a man. I said, no offense, Tyler. I said, but you're colored. I said, I've never met you, but you're colored. I said, you're with a white guy and you've got your arm in his and you're la, 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 la. I said, and you're forgetting what you're doing because you're just enamored with this guy. I said, and you're walking out the front door. I said, and you know what you did? She said, no, what? I said, there was a little Buddha woman standing there. I said, I can see her. I said, she's maybe 5 feet tall. She had on this dress, it zipped up, and it was mainly yellow flowers. And it had some black in it, some white in it. And then I said, you know what you did, Tyler? I said, you bumped into her. She said, I did what?
Oh, no.
Yeah. I said, you banged into her. I said, and you just kept going. I said, you didn't say sorry, excuse me, nothing. I said, it was really rude of you. That's what I told her. I said, this woman went. She said, you're kidding me. I said, no. I said, she blew something at you. I said, some type of roots. I said, I can see her. I said, she had her head wrapped up in a head garb. I said, she stood there and did this to you. I said, this is what happened. I said,
Wow.
I don't know. I said, you were really rude. I said, so I said, this is what happened to you. I said, ever since then, I said, you've had bad luck, haven't you? She said, I have. I said, okay, well, let's fix this. I said, what we have to do, we have to get a box. We have to get a Barbie doll, dress the Barbie doll like her. I said, we have to break some glass, fill the box with the glass so we can put the doll in there later on, dress it like her, tie the hands together. And I was going to tell her what we had to say. Plus, we had to put black salt in there. And then, so I told her, I said, go out and buy this stuff. So then she didn't contact me for a while, and I contacted her again, and I talked to her on the phone. Then I'm talking to her. I said, you've got to get this done. I said, because when we get this done, I said, you got to take that box. We're going to wrap it in plastic. I said, then you've got to take it and go bury it somewhere. So then I'm talking to her that night. And then I went to bed about 2 o'clock, and I'm sitting on my bed. And like I was explaining, we have a hot tub room. And my husband refinished, he's a carpenter. He refinished the windows in white paint. They were brown.
Okay.
And then, asshole, he took my crosses down.
Oh, no.
No kidding. I was mad. So I hear thump, 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 thump in our main bathroom, something walking back and forth. Then I'm getting a vision. I call it a goon.
A what, baby?
Like a goon.
A goon.
A zombie.
All right.
I called it a goon, and that's what he looked like to me. He looked like he had a big arch back and a head that stuck down, and just no brains. He was told what to do. walking back and forth in my bedroom. I could hear him stomping. I'm like, oh, she knows I'm talking to Tyler.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, she sent this thing to scare me. I thought, I'm not scared of you. So I just went to bed. So I called Tyler the next night. I said, you got to get working on this with me. I said, she knows I'm talking to you. I told her what happened. I said, this thing was in my bathroom. And then, it was, like I said, it was a Tuesday. I talked to her. I said, Tyler, go get that stuff. We have to get this done. So then the next night I went to bed again at like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I go to bed late. I feel this tap middle of my head.
Oh no.
Finger. I just sat down in the bed, and here I could feel this finger tapping me on the head. I'm like, oh, hell no. 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 I'm like looking around, I don't see anything. But I knew it was, this thing was now in our bedroom. It got past the door frame because Jeff took my crosses down.
Oh jeez.
Oh, yeah. Ugh. So I reamed him out. I said, what did you do? You took my crosses down. You didn't put them back? He's like, no. So I had to cleanse that part of the house, our master bathroom and the hot tub room. And I took the crosses and put them back.
Well, good. I'm glad you got that done, and that's a crazy experience.
Yeah,
And
but what I was going to say
she wouldn't
earlier,
continue with that either, the process. She wouldn't continue with it.
what I was going to say earlier was get some eggshell powder, have someone bless it, and then make the sign of the cross
Okay.
with the eggshell powder over your door frames, window frames, et
That's what
cetera,
I
et
do.
cetera.
That's what
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
But
well, use the eggshell powder, and
you guys may
I
not
know
know
that
this,
you know that if before you bless a house or sage a house, first of all, I don't recommend just saging, okay? Because a lot of times, especially even with an imp, that can just fucking piss them off, baby. Use cedar, use
Mhm.
frankincense, a mixture of frankincense, cedar, and myrrh. Put that shit together and burn it simultaneously. Open all your windows, all your doors, and then let that shit burn. Sage can only do so much. Sage is mostly
I
for
don't even
residual
use sage.
energy.
I use holy water.
Okay, well,
Sage wouldn't do it.
no, of
Nope.
course not.
No, and people say, you hear people say that on TV. Oh, get some sage.
Right.
No, it
No.
doesn't do it. I use the holy water. I've got a jug of it.
Palo Santo, exactly, Laura. Thank you. Palo Santo is one of the best. In fact, you can use Palo Santo on its own, but open the windows, open the doors, turn on every light. But you got to get every crack and crevice, every cabinet, every closet, every under the bed, under the pillows, whatever. You got to spend at least a good hour smudging that place.
Oh yeah, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Because what I do is
Absolutely.
I normally open up one window, and then start at the bottom of my house, and then go back, and then close that window.
There you go.
To make sure it's gone, to
That'll
chase
do
it out.
Well, Sophia,
Exactly what I do.
let's talk about
Yep.
let's talk about the Beast of Bray Road, baby.
Before we do that, we have a special guest with us. We have Chris and Kristen from
Bigfoot and the
Bunny.
Bunny.
They wanted to hop in with us, so now we can all talk about the beast.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey there.
Baby.
Chris
How you
Carr
doing?
and Kristen Johnson from Bigfoot and the
It is
Bunny.
nice to meet you, Mistress B. Ask Ken.
Yes.
I've been so
That's
long.
right. We missed you when we
Yes.
were on last.
I know. I'm so sorry. I need to get on there. I promise I'm doing it.
Oh, this is so fun. And, thank you for inviting us. We
Yes,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
You're welcome.
And Beast of Bray Road is a
we
wonderful
love
story.
that
I
story.
love a good werewolf story.
Mm.
The lycanthrope.
And that's what you refer to it most of the time, Sophia, is the werewolf. Am I correct?
Yep. That's
Well, let's
exactly
talk
what it
about that
looked like
shit,
for me.
baby.
Okay. It was in July, and about 1:30 in the morning, and my dog wanted to go out, and I couldn't sleep. So we live on an acre out here, and I went out the back door with her, and it was a full moon, and I go and I'm out there with her, and I look to the left, and I see something coming, and I'm like, okay, what is that? So I couldn't tell at first what it was because it was big. It was really big. Then I'm thinking, okay, that's two kids, one on top of the other's shoulders. I'm like, no. At first I thought they had a fur coat on. I'm like, what are they doing in this heat with a fur coat on and two kids walk, one on top of the other? I'm trying to get it through my head what I was seeing. And then as it came out of the tree line more, then I could see it. So then I'm looking at it and I'm watching it walk along the tree line. Its arms were down to its knees, swinging. And it would walk the whole time on its 2 feet.
Mhm.
There's no question about that. It walked the whole time on its 2 feet. And I'm just watching it. Me and my dog are watching it. And again, during this whole time, we couldn't move. I tried moving. And it was like as if we were glued to the ground. And then it kept walking along the tree line. And then I was going to say, hey, what are you doing? Well, this thing turned and looked at me. And a lot of people don't know, but I have a twin sister. So when we were younger, we would communicate telepathically. So this thing, it turned and it stopped before it went up between the houses. It turned and looked at me. And, I was going to say, what are you doing? And I know it read my mind. I know it did. But it turned and it had a little bitty dog face, like my terrier. That's why I'm like, what the heck? And it had little bitty ears, but its nose was really small. It was really small, but it was huge. I mean, it was 7 feet tall. And I grew up on a farm. So I've heard all kinds of things. We had all kinds of animals up there. And then it turned and looked at me. And I know it knew what I said, like, what are you doing? But we were stuck to the ground. We couldn't move. We couldn't do anything. And then it turned and just walked away and went down between the two houses. And I watched it walk away. And it had, a hairy chest. It was gray in color. But from us, like having horses and things like that, its rear end was really muscular. The legs all the way down. And we had, Siberian Husky dog. And its legs were bent in the middle like a canine. And it just continued to walk. And I was just like, did I think I see what I saw? But I took the dog and went into the house backwards. Like I'm keeping an eye on this thing in case it came back.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, are you from the Wisconsin area where the Beast of Bray Road was spotted?
I am about 35 miles away from there.
Oh, okay. All right. So we might be talking about the very same creatures.
Yep. That's
Yep.
exactly what it is.
Oh, it's amazing.
Same thing. The same thing, baby.
That was the first time I saw it. So I said, I'm going to call the police. My husband tells me not to. They're going to think you're nuts. I'm like, So I'm looking at through all the blinds and things like that, thinking it's going to come back. So then I typed in dog man, thinking that's what it looked like to me. So then I got a hold of Linda Godfrey and she came out here. Sure enough,
Yeah,
we went
real
back
quick,
there.
real quick. I think she's a wonderful person.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Me too.
That's awesome. Yeah. Fascinating.
But anyway, you got a hold of
But we
Linda.
took pictures of the footprints.
I
back
think
there.
Kristen says that about me sometimes.
Yep.
Oh, you're funny. So she took footprints and everything of the
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got the pictures of the footprints back there too.
Did you do casts and things? Take casts of them?
No, because the ground was so hard out there that it sunk probably, so far into the dirt. But Linda and I aren't that big. I thought she was jumping up and down. I thought, what are you doing? She was trying to gauge how much this thing weighed. I didn't know what she was doing.
Depth of the impression, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was jumping up and down. And I said, what the heck are you doing? First I'm thinking, are you nuts? But that's what she was doing. She said, Sophia, I want to kind of see how much it weighs because the ground was rock hard. It was in the middle of July. So that's what she was doing.
So you said that was the first time you saw the beast. Does that mean there was another time?
Yeah. Yep.
What happened the second time?
What happened was it's been on my property like 3 times.
Okay.
And I've got 2 autistic kids. And then my daughter would always say, Mommy, there's a monster in the bushes. And she'd come up and, hug me, like protect her. And I would say, okay, Heather, I'm going to go beat it. So, because she's scared.
Yeah.
And there is bushes right by her window. So I went out there probably a year and a half later in July. And I look and I had bearded irises out there. And here's a huge footprint right by my daughter's window, not even a foot away, big footprint, and right in the middle of my bearded irises. It killed him.
Oh,
my
That's
no.
what brought me over there. I'm like, what the heck is that?
That's one of the things they say about Sasquatch sightings too. Like they're looking in the window, right? You
Yeah.
hear that story a lot.
That's
for
right.
skunk apes, which just
Yeah.
sounded a little bit like a skunk ape with the long arms, but definitely more dog-like with the jaw. And
Right.
did it have a tail?
No.
It
Nope.
didn't. Mm.
Interesting.
Nope.
Fascinating.
But I have the picture that they showed on the Joss Gates show is the one that was taken by my daughter's window.
Do you
Really?
have that there with you right now?
Oh, I'd have to find it.
Okay,
Can you
no
show me a
worries,
picture
no
before?
worries.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
no worries,
I
baby.
don't
No
even know what
worries.
size it is.
I believe you. Now, listen, Sophia, real quick. Excuse me. Me and you talked about a month ago
Mhm.
when I approached you about coming on,
Yep.
and you and I came to an agreement that this is not a biological entity. At least I don't believe it's a purely a biological entity. There is more to this thing than just biology.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Yep. But the second time I physically saw the dog man, and they talk about different, like there's different kinds of them or different types.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I saw two different
Yeah.
types. And the next time I saw it, it was in October because I let my little dog out the service door. And I remember it was October because it was starting to get cold. And I was standing there and I let her out on her rope. And I look over to the left, and the neighbors have huge evergreens. They're probably 20, 30, 40 feet in the air, and they're side by side. So we can't see through them. So I look, and it is standing there upright with its paws like this, looking at me, and it growled at me. And I'm like, get back in here. To my dog. And she, boom, turned around and ran right back in the house. But I got a good look at it. And it was lighter color. And I don't know if anybody knows what animals look like when they have mange.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This thing
Yeah.
had hair missing all over the place. I thought, what the heck? But then that's why you can tell, like the one that I saw, I believe was younger. And this one that I saw here, I believe was older. You know how people age and they shrink. The
Mhm.
second one had a longer nose and it was whiter because people, when they get older, they lose their color. And then, like I said, it had a longer nose, but it was kind of hunched over and it was smaller.
Did it recognize you at all? Like, did either of these occurrences, did it seem to know where you were at? And did it react?
Well, I think the first one did because I wasn't really afraid of the first one. It didn't do anything to me. It saw me and it wasn't going to come near me. But, I don't know if I told Ken this or not. I'm a pastor. So it's like,
You did tell me, yeah.
these things, it's like I tell people, yeah, you think these things aren't of this earth. And that's what I tell people. Yeah, they are. Yes, they are. I know that. I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Or at least
oh
some
my
of the
God.
time, right? I mean, I think you were indicating that maybe it was an interdimensional type being earlier.
Yeah. They say that they're skinwalkers and they could disappear. Da, 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 da. I believe that.
Absolutely.
I believe
Absolutely.
that because there's a woman I think she lives 3 houses down from me. Then I find out that she reported it to the police that she saw this thing looking in her kitchen window.
Oh no.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What?
That's a commonality. That's a commonality with a lot of cryptids where they will be looking at your ass through a fucking window and shit, y'all. But
That's
me
why I
and
told my
Sophia,
blinds.
me and Sophia, we talked about this shit about a month ago.
Oh.
And I feel like, and this is gonna sound bizarre, this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm Ken Allen. I don't give a fuck what people think. It is.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. That's right, baby.
I used to, but not anymore.
I think it is a biological spiritual entity.
Yeah.
And I believe there is such a thing as a biological spiritual entity. You go back far enough with the Native Americans, they
Yep.
talk about spirits that are physical, yet they can do shit that's
Shapeshifters.
like passing through trees, embodying trees, transforming whatever, not just skinwalkers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
like that
And
video I sent you last night. How did the thing get through my door?
exactly.
I'm like, what the hell?
You know, and again, is that the imp that you've had so many problems with, or is that something fucking totally different because
I
you're
think it's
a
something
psychic
else.
medium, baby?
Yeah, I think it's something else. I don't think it's an imp. I
Right.
think it might be, and nobody's ever talked about this. I've never heard anybody talk about the werewolves or dogmen having children.
Right.
Oh
Exactly.
no.
Yeah.
And that was
Exactly.
my first impression that this was a baby.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, and first impressions are important because
Yes.
many years ago I had a teacher. I had a teacher when I was in high school. She was a practicing witch. She was an amazing person, and she said, "Ken, whatever your first impression is always right."
Yep.
that's right. Always go with your gut. Always go with your
That's what I
Exactly.
felt. It was a baby from.
Well, it makes sense if you've seen two of them that are different in characteristics. Like you don't know which one is male or female, but if their faces were so different and you saw the shorter one first, the shorter nosed one, and then the longer nosed one, you never know, they might be a pair. And it makes sense if it's biological at all, they can have babies.
Well, I felt that these two were males that were
Okay.
here.
Okay.
But
Yep.
obviously, if these things are physically real, they have to reproduce, don't they?
Yeah.
Sure. And you may have
Well,
sensed that per
Yeah,
child.
I mean, even demons reproduce. I mean, you go back far. No, seriously, you go back far enough with the ancient Sumerians and Lilith and Lelitu and all that shit. You know, even demons reproduce. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And Lucifer was the husband of Lilith, et cetera, and she gave birth to all these demons. And Chris, you know about that shit, bro.
Sure, a whole bunch of childbearing going on, and certainly practice.
I mean,
Well, that's
let's be
what I
honest.
felt when I walked out there this morning. I thought, this is a little, this creature that I saw. It's a little
Yeah.
dog, man, a werewolf, whatever it was. I felt that's what it was.
The bottom line is somebody's fucking.
Yeah, well, like I said, that door was locked. Wasn't in my house.
Isn't that always
Why do you think they're so comfortable approaching your property? Because I know that they can approach property and it's probably just out of curiosity, but you've now seen evidence of potentially 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Why do you think they're so comfortable coming up that close to your property?
Well, you know, and I'm on these other groups and I've read this before, and I think this is actually what's going on. But I also had a big footprint in my backyard from last May.
Yeah.
And I have the picture, but I took it before and after, and it was in an area where the deer were bedding down back there.
Oh,
But the thing is,
Yep.
people have discussed this before. Why are people seeing more and more of this? See, Wisconsin's had 100 reported incidents of this through the past 100 years. They've got it documented
yeah.
of these dogmen or werewolves that you want to call it. But I think they keep coming to me because people are building up so much in different areas and chasing them out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
agree.
That's what I think.
encroaching on their territory.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly
right.
what it is.
But
Kinda like
They
also,
have to go somewhere.
kind of thing, like that animated movie
yeah,
that shows how that happens. You start to build up housing and that kind of stuff, and the animals all have to congregate somewhere.
Yep.
not only that, I think because you're psychic, you can actually see them or they'll let you see them.
Right.
And it might be because you have autistic children, especially like autistic children have very,
Well, they
very
both have
intense,
the ability to.
yeah, they
They
have
have
intense
Yeah.
connection to animals. My brother works with autistic children and teaches them to ride horses, and so they call it horse sense. And maybe these werewolves have something similar where they know that those children will be able to see them and accept them, and that you, by extension, having autistic children will be able to see and accept them as
Well,
well.
my husband always says, "You like animals better than people." You're damn right I do.
They're nicer.
Yeah, they don't talk back. They're not mean. They know
Absolutely.
who loves them.
Absolutely.
So,
They're here for us, certainly.
Yeah.
yep, that's
Yeah,
right.
for the most part.
Like I
The
said, I
domestic-
grew up on a farm too. It's like you can tell. I mean, the horses would come up and push you with their nose,
Yeah.
And you'd pet them. We'd ride our horses and we'd ride them bareback without a bridle even.
Absolutely. I remember when I was 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, I would put a beach towel over my horse and I would ride him bareback for fucking 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day deep in the forests in North Florida. It was, oh God, it was, I can't explain. It was euphoric. It was euphoric.
Yep.
It is to be that connected to animals.
Yeah,
In nature, I'm never more comfortable than I am in nature, in a forest, on a mountain.
absolutely.
Kristen's the same way.
Absolutely.
Well, you feel these people, like I said, with the imp that came here. I knew my twin sister created it and attached it to my other sister, and she brought it here. But that's what I said. I can feel the negative energy. I mean, I could walk up in front of somebody and they could tell me something and I could tell them what they're lying about. Oh, don't try to f with me.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't even try it because you're not going to get away with it.
It's a blessing and a curse, definitely.
Sure.
Yep. I mean, one woman tried that when she instant messaged me, wanted to know what was going on in her house. Then I found out what was really going on. And I told her, I said, she said she had something walking up and down her hallway, trying to get in her bedroom. And she put salt down as a barrier. I said, okay. I said, you don't have to tell me anything else. Then I told her, I said, I can see this gentleman. He's about 6'2". He's got reddish blonde hair, pulls it back in a ponytail. He's got a Western shirt on with a pair of jeans and a big belt buckle. I said, you know this person, don't you? She wouldn't answer me. And I said, answer me. I said, you know who it is. I said, it's your son-in-law. I said,
Oh, jeez.
oh yeah. And then I said, you know something? I said, you were with him. I said, he died of a drug overdose. I said, you were with him.
Oh.
I said, you didn't think I'd find out? I said, you know what? I said, you've got his daughter, don't you? Your granddaughter. She said, I do. I said, so I know you had a feeling you knew who that was.
Mhm.
Yep.
He
That's
overdosed
right.
when those two were doing drugs together. Oh,
Yep.
Can I ask you a quick question? So in a story like that, when you read somebody, and I'm always curious about how psychics interpret the information, do you see that as like a story, like a movie playing in your head?
I
or you-
do. I see it like a
Mhm.
little video over they're always on my right-hand side for some
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah,
Okay.
my
Video
mother's
over
the
here.
same way. My
then
mother's the same way. She'll
I
say
see the
that
person
when
here.
yeah, she sees it like a movie. Yeah. And here's the thing, Chris and Kristen and Mistress B. You see certain things with your right side and you see spirits with your left side. Am I correct, Sophia?
Yep.
Okay, left-hand path, right, Chris? Come on now, baby.
We've talked about this. I find that it can be different for different people, but there does seem to be some commonalities there, and it means something if it comes from one side that's different than the other side. Kristen has more clairaudient experience than myself,
Yeah,
but I've had them
right
too.
here.
We've had them even together on investigations, which is very interesting. And just say, where did that come from? What does it mean? And we're trying to
Yeah.
figure that out.
Yeah.
So I always ask people about their experiences because that's fascinating.
Well, I told Ken too. I was on the phone one day with a person that we're getting the house refinanced with. I was in the kitchen and I'm standing there. All of a sudden I get a tap on the shoulder during the day. And I said, Chris, it's your grandmother. And he said, what? I said, your grandmother. I said, you've never met her? He said, no. I said, her name is Jean. He said, yes, it is. I said, okay. She's telling me with her left finger that you're spelling her name wrong. I said, she spells it Gene. I said, you guys are spelling it Jean, right? He said, yeah.
Mhm.
I said, well, she told me to correct you.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. I said, is that what you're doing? He said, yeah. I said, well, no, I said, she's using her left finger. I said, she's also telling me that you're left-handed. Is that correct? He said, I am. I've never met this guy. He's from California, from Penny Mac. And I said, are you left-handed? He said, I am. I said, well, your grandmother's telling me, because she's using her left finger, she's left-handed too.
Yeah, there you go, baby.
Oh, he goes, I have to get off here. I said, no, you're not. We're not done. But it was just, I could see her, beside me.
So
let me
fast
go ahead,
forward.
Chris.
Just the way that information is interpreted to you, because you feel it's that way.
Right. But I confirmed it with him that that's who that was.
Awesome. That
And
is.
because she said to me, I'm his grandmother, Jean. I said, okay. And that's what she said to me, you know, telepathically. Can you
Wave at everybody. Wave at everybody. This
Hi,
is my son,
Jackson.
y'all.
Hi
Say
there.
hey. Wave at
Hi
everybody.
there.
All
Aren't
right,
you
go ahead,
cute?
buddy.
He's a cutie. But I you know, he first is kind of freaked out because I just talked to him over the phone. I've never met him.
Wow.
And it's just weird.
But you can do it. That's the thing.
Yeah, people instant message me too, and they'll send me a couple of things. I'm like, that's all I need to know. Just let me see.
I will.
And if I can read them, I can read them.
Now,
But-
did you have any haunted experiences as a child? And I'm sorry if this was covered before we jumped on.
Oh yeah.
Run
Oh
in.
yeah. I went over there too. I said, we lived on a farm up in Appleton. And the first time I remembered, I was 6 years old. And I was coming out of my bedroom, and this woman, she had period clothes on, you know, with the big bustle and everything.
Mhm.
And she had blonde colored hair, and she had it up under the hat, but her dress was lavender. I still remember that. It was lavender, and she had white gloves on. But I ran out of my bedroom. She cut me off. I'm like, where did you come from? I'm like looking back and forth. And that's like, okay. I didn't think anything of it because she kept walking and she disappeared. So then our bedrooms were on the second floor of this old farmhouse. And then right across from my bedroom was the attic door. And it was kind of creepy, but we used to go up there, you know, we have the old string lights, and we'd go up there and we'd play with old suitcases. I don't know why, but that were left there.
You do.
Yeah.
Something to do, right? Other than stay in this house when it's, you know, a cold day. So then one day the door opened up and there was these three heads. And-
Yes, that's right. Now, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt,
Okay.
but you were on the Dawn Vick show, yes?
Yep.
And excuse me, you were on the Dawn Vick show, and I remember watching the Dawn Vick show and listening to you, and you were talking about these entities that were the three heads stacked on top of one another or whatever. And I'm so glad you brought that up because holy shit, fucking cow, baby, I want to know more about that.
Yep. There were three heads and the door just creeped open. And then all of a sudden there were three heads on top of each other. It was a male, a female, and a male. And I didn't know what it was. I was little. I was maybe 7 years old. And they're
Wow.
looking at me like, and smiling. And,
It's
you
so
know,
creepy.
of course, they didn't have any skin on them. And, you know,
Oh,
I
no.
didn't understand until later on what the heck they were. But there were skulls with the, you know, the eyeballs were gone, but no hair. But like I said, I could tell by what it was. It was a male, a female, and a male. And they're blinking at me and smiling and just, you know, doing this. And I thought, what the hell is that? I was like, and I stood there and looked at it for maybe a couple of minutes. And then the door shut again. And I walked away.
Wow.
I never said anything to anybody. And then I come to find out my sister, I come from a family of 10. My older brother, my older sister, they used to goof around and do seances in the barn. Oh, really? So then they went and they found out that there had been a man and a wife that bought the farm, Fred and Eve. Then they hired a ranch hand called Ron. Well, somehow it turned into a love triangle. The husband killed the hired hand, shot his
Yep.
wife, and shot himself.
Uh-huh.
That's who I think those were.
There are your three heads right
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
3 heads, and somebody
Yep.
was given a head too, right?
Uh,
Yeah.
But it was just
Hey,
creepy.
y'all know I don't give a shit. I'm gonna say it. Somebody was giving somebody head, baby, and it wasn't the right person. It wasn't the right person, baby.
you say you gotta love yourself, right? You know.
Yeah.
But that's funny because on
Oh.
our show this week we've been talking a lot about angels and demons and the
Yeah.
historic portraits of them and having like multiple heads and like Asmodeus having the head of a bull, for instance, and like a dragon kind of thing going on. Like 3 or 4 different heads and the wheel.
That's right.
We talked about that. Where there's a cattle and a bull and a human face and all these heads are kind of combined, but nobody knows. And I guess in your case, they were actually stacked.
Yeah, there
But
was
you know
that.
what, Chris? It's the same thing in the Bible. You look at some of the cherubs and the seraphim and all that shit in the
Or
Bible.
um,
Yeah, exactly. You know,
real-
some of these angels, excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry. Some of these angels have uh, three heads. One with a bull head, one with a human head, one with a lion head, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Sure. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
the cherubim.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The
Fascinating.
cherubim, exactly. Yeah. I mean, what purpose would a divine entity, God, you know, why would he want something like that
Right.
around his throne? And it's always around his throne.
Yes.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what the wheels were for, right? To
Well,
carry the
you know,
Exactly.
you have, like I said, I mentioned I'm a pastor. You have these
Yes.
people that, especially what's been happening lately with society, some people believe that there's a God. Some people believe there's a heaven and a hell. My husband, I said to him the other day, he's blah, 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 and said, I went to Catholic school for 6 days a week. I said, did you? I said, so do you believe there's a heaven or a hell? He said, no. I said, well, then you're not Catholic. I said, you're an atheist then. And he always pulls this crap on me. And I'm just like, you know what? Really? When you die, where are you going to go? I don't think you're going with me.
Well, you know, personally, I don't think that. I got a lot of people believe that hell is in the center of the earth and all that bullshit.
No, I don't believe that.
If hell does exist, and I've said this before on past podcasts, it's in another dimension.
Yep.
If heaven
Absolutely.
does exist, it's in another dimension.
Mhm.
If purgatory exists, it's in another dimension. I have my own personal beliefs. I'm not going to express them right now. I've done that before in the past. It's not a big deal what I believe with regards to what we're talking about now. So there you go, baby.
We do have a question from the audience. Laura asks, when spirit speaks to you, how do you hear them? Do you hear them in your own voice or someone else's voice?
I hear them telepathically, and it comes as words in their voice.
Oh,
I don't
interesting.
hear them out loud. I'll hear them talk to me telepathically through here. Like that young man that instant messaged me and said he wanted to communicate with his mother. Well, he sent it through the instant message, and I was reading it, and then I got a vision of her. She had a blue gown on. It was zipped all the way up, and to me, it looked like a dress. Then later on, he told me, he said, Sophia, that was the nightgown she passed away in.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Because I told him before that, I said, what I saw. I said, I see her standing up. She had her hands out, and she was blowing hearts. But she had her hair brushed all the way back. And I said, this is what I see.
So it's pretty easy for you then to differentiate messages from other people versus your own intuition because of the different voices that they'll sound like, I guess, right?
Yeah, they come to me. Like I said, I have a twin sister, and we used to communicate telepathically, but we would just think something. For instance, like my husband was on the phone 2 years ago with me, and we're deciding what color to paint the doors, the exterior doors. And I said to him, I said, are you thinking purple? He said, oh, I said, we're going to paint them purple now. And they painted purple.
Are
That's
they?
so funny.
That's what I want. I want
Yep.
purple
He
everything.
goes, how did you know? Yeah, I said, because you're thinking that, weren't you? He said, yeah, I was. He says, oh, I sent it to you. I said, oh, hell no, you didn't.
Hell no.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I said, I could read your mind, Jeff. And he's afraid. It's kind of funny. It's afraid. He's kind of afraid. People are like, well, you think he'd ever cheat on you? I said, are you kidding me? I know where he is. He's too afraid to do that.
You don't need
Work
shared
when he comes
location.
home.
Right.
I don't need GPS on him.
That's awesome.
It's just kind of weird. And you
The
know,
beast.
I had a
Okay, close.
family up here that they were arguing.
So,
I didn't know.
Sophia,
Yeah.
the Beast of Bray Road. What the
Okay.
fuck is it, baby?
Could be a
What
lot
is
of
the
things.
Beast of Bray Road, girl? Come on.
It could be a lot of things. I think somebody would say to me too, Sophia, do you think it's somebody you know? Because it comes around here. I said, well, you know, I've got that feeling before, but the creepy guy that I thought it was moved. Because there was a guy 2 houses away, and he was he had a neo-Nazi swastika on the back of his head.
Oh hell.
Oh yeah, and I have a strawberry patch out here. So the guys next door, they'd see me at my strawberry patch, would go yell my name. And I'd look up and they'd tilt their head like that. And then I'd look and I'd see the creep looking at me through the bushes.
Oh, geez.
No kidding. So yeah, I'd walk in the house. You ain't looking at me, you creep. Well, and he scared me one time because I was walking with my dog down the street and I put her in a stroller. So I'm walking down the street. The SOB does a U-banging right in the middle of the intersection, pulls right up beside me. He had a big Ram truck with a trailer on the back. I thought he could have picked me up and put me in the back of his truck and I could have disappeared.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was shaking by the time I got home. I called the police on him. Yeah,
Really?
stalker is
Good.
right. He's a
Good.
creep.
Yeah. Good.
I mean, he scared me. I told the police, I said, don't make a public report at my address. I said, because if he goes and gets that, but he scared the hell out of me. Like I said, when I came back, I was just shaking. I thought he could have just grabbed me and disappeared. Nobody would have known it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we're glad you didn't disappear.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. People
I
are the
would have put up a hell of a fight.
most creatures. We worry
That
about
was his eyes out first.
we should be more worried about our neighbors sometimes.
Yeah. And
So
people aren't. It's who you live around that should concern you. Not
Yeah.
necessarily always somebody that's a stranger. No.
So do
Nope.
you think they're interdimensional? The Beast of Bray Road. Do you think
Good
it's
question. Good
I
question.
think some of them are, and I think some of them aren't. And
You think some
some
of
of
them
them
are
say,
earthbound?
yeah, I think they're.
Live and populate. And you mentioned a deer area, right? Where there were deer laid or whatnot. Do you think that's the food for them?
I think that's the trail line. Yep. That's what I call it, as a trail line. Because in Heartland, where I live, there's so many lakes out here and rivers and streams and stuff. But I live right next to the freeway. So where this thing came through, it was a straight shot right between all the houses. So it could walk right down a whole tree line of trees and nobody could see it at all. It could just keep going forever.
Yeah.
I'd be thinking trail cams everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's what I used to have those out there too. And I caught big orbs on my patio already, about 7, 8, 10 feet tall.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I think that's what these things are. I think, and somebody said to me on a group that I belong on, he thought there were 7 or 8 different kinds of them or different species, which there could be. But I live on Indian ground. That's where I
Yeah,
live.
you do. Yes, you do.
I looked it up
Mhm.
because
Do you
Linda thought the Indian ground was just up north. It's not. The whole half of Wisconsin down to the end of it is all Indian ground. And I already had an Indian visit me in my daughter's bedroom.
Do you think that, and this is a question for everybody, do you think that these beasts are pack animals or more solitary? Like I've heard that Bigfoots tend to be solitary and skunk apes and
I
things
think
like
they
that.
travel alone. That's the feeling I get because the 2 that I saw were alone. And I didn't get the impression that there was anything with them. I don't think they travel in packs.
Did you
Not at
feel
all.
did
I
you
don't
feel
think they
threatened
travel
by
back.
this thing in any way, shape, or form? Did you feel threatened at all?
I didn't feel threatened. I think I was more, I tell people now that I was more taken back by it. Thinking like, what the hell is that? It had to take me a long time, probably a week, to get it through my head what I saw.
Yeah, to wrap your head around it.
Yeah, I was trying to deny it and deny it. I'm like, no. And then Linda came out, like I said, we saw the footprints were there. That was proof that they were there.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh my God.
Well, speaking of footprints, here recently you had footprints of a Bigfoot. Yes.
Yeah, last May, I was out on my berm and I thought, boy, something really smelled. I never smelled this smell before. And I thought, I was like vomiting. My mouth was starting to, drool like when you get sick.
Mhm.
And I was out there puking. I thought, what the hell is that? I go look on the other side of my berm into the neighbor's yard. And here I see a big footprint. I'm like, oh my God. But it was where deer would bed down. Right over there. I thought, man. Then I had to look it up because I wasn't sure about the Bigfoot. But they say that you smell like it smells
Yes.
like total garbage.
Yeah.
before you smell it.
Okay, so here in Florida, we have what's called skunk apes.
Okay.
Okay. And I know beyond a shadow of doubt, I've been in the proximity of skunk apes, and it is the most horrendous smell. It's like a cross between pure rot and shit.
Yep.
Okay. It's
Yep.
bad.
This was really bad. And I've never smelled this before. I'm looking around like, where did somebody dump some? I'm like, what the hell is out here?
Have
I
you
keep the thing weeded and everything. It looks nice. And I'm like, what the hell is that?
have you done anything to capture more evidence other than like taking photos of the footprints? Have you hung up trail cams or taken casts or anything like that?
No.
And if not, are you
No.
interested in doing that?
Well, I've got security cameras that point out into the yard and they'll go off and alert me. I mean, like I see when the deer and stuff are out there, but I haven't captured any more of those.
Okay.
And I don't think people are going to. And people
Yeah.
always say that, well, how come nobody can ever get pictures of these things? For the same reason I didn't.
Mhm.
Everybody's glued to their phones 24/7.
You're
When
right.
I let my dog out there, I just happened to not bring my phone. I thought, shit, that's the only time I didn't bring my phone. Time. Well, what am I going to find in a couple of minutes, right? Letting my dog out.
Yeah.
Both times it happened when I let my dog out. But I think, obviously, these things are more intelligent than we know.
Perhaps they're more psychic. And
Yes.
that's how
Yeah,
they
and like I said,
Yeah.
telepathic.
being
Because
recorded.
the first one,
Yeah.
I know, read my mind when I said, hey, what are you doing? It turned around and looked at me. That's when it turned around and looked at me. I
Right.
know it knew what I said.
Mhm.
'Cause
It
then
knew
turned
what
and
you
looked at me
said.
like, I'm right here.
It had intellect.
Yep.
It had self-awareness.
Yep.
It knew what was going on. It knew
Yep.
what you said.
And I think they're very, very smart.
Yeah.
That's what I
Obviously,
think.
yeah, they would have to be. I
Yep.
would think. Yeah, sure.
That's what
That
I think.
it's fascinating. I've never. I don't really spend too much time concentrating on cryptids or what would be considered cryptids. I don't think the excuse me. I don't think the Beast of Bray Road is a cryptid. Like I said earlier, I think it's something completely different. I think it's more spiritual than biological, but I mostly concentrate on spiritual things. But
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, holy shit, Batman.
Yeah.
Damn it. Damn it.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
evidence was
it's-
compelling. I remember seeing photographs of a woman's car door or the fender, I forget, being clawed, and
Yeah.
it was very dramatic. The data that she had collected. At the
a
time.
couple weeks ago, I had something scratch my leg in bed. I showed my
Yeah.
husband.
Real
And-
quick, I want to, before you go into that, because I do want to go into that real quick about the scratching. Many, many years ago, when I was a kid, we lived in South Carolina. And Chris and Kristen, I know you guys remember this shit about that reptilian thing that was in the swamps of South Carolina. The guy whose car was attacked by that reptilian. Do you guys remember that shit?
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit.
I
I know
lived.
stories, but I'm not a cryptid expert.
Yeah, it was in the 80s. It was in the 80s. At the time, I lived like maybe 15 miles from where that fucking shit happened, y'all. And it's been on so many paranormal. What is it? Monsters in America or some shit like that.
West.
I heard that too, yeah.
Yeah, great series, great show. But it was on Monsters in America. And I remember when that shit happened because my dad was talking about it. He was like, oh shit, that's not far from us, whatever. But it was like a reptilian cryptid thing or some shit. Yeah. So they're all out there. Anyway, sorry.
It's messed
Sophia.
up. I think they're out there too,
okay.
Ken. I do. I think these things exist. I don't know why we don't find the dead ones so much, and you debunk things like chupacabra to,
But at the
an
same time, Chris, you don't find too many dead bears. You don't. You just don't,
Right.
unless they're hit by a car.
Some
Right.
woman over here in Pewaukee posted a picture last August of a chupacabra down by the lake. And that's exactly what it was. I mean, normally you hear of those things in Mexico. I'm in Wisconsin.
Right.
I'm like, what the hell? You could tell it was a chupacabra. It had no hair, and the thing was ugly. And she posted it, was going into the weeds to try to get her dog. And she said she had to find a stick to beat the thing back God, lady, you got some balls.
Yeah.
But she posted a picture. I'm like,
Big
that
stick.
sure is. That sure is a chupacabra.
She must have had some big balls, and believe me, I've seen my
Well,
share
I
of
would too,
balls.
because you know something? It's just like my dog is one of my kids. If you're going to try to get my dog, you're going through me.
Absolutely.
That's right.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of things out there that we just don't know yet. I mean, look at the coelacanth for one. It's that fish that they caught, and
Great example, Kristen.
so I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
things that we just
Giant squids,
don't know
were
about.
accepted at one time.
I mean, these
Kangaroos
things have
were
been around for how long?
Right,
yeah.
Longer than we were here, and then try to say that they don't exist.
right.
Good
Real
luck.
quick, Potluck Joker 88 says, I've seen a human who blinked sideways. I believe it to be a reptilian. A lot of people joke about that reptilian shit. What's her name? Hillary Clinton's a reptilian. So-and-so's a reptilian. Obama's a reptilian. Joe
Yeah.
Biden's a reptilian, whatever. But that I believe that shit's real. I believe there are fucking reptilians, and I believe them bitches can blink sideways.
I don't believe they're
Yeah.
all Democrats, though.
I don't think it's like motivated
Jeez,
as
people.
it is like the one, right?
Let's
There's
not go there.
Right.
if you go back to the Anunnaki, right, and they came down here and
Right.
supposedly changed our DNA and turned humans, made the missing link so that they would become slaves and mine gold.
That's
If
right.
you believe that, then there's always been a 1%. There's always been some very
Higher order.
fractional percent of the population that has controlled the rest, and it may well be true.
The thing about it is, like, even if you're not looking into the paranormal, like you mentioned with the coelacanth, there's so much we don't know even about our own ocean that's not paranormal. Like the
It's only
things,
right.
the things that
10%.
live in the dark.
Yep.
Right.
It's
Yep.
only paranormal because we don't understand it.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, 10%. Our oceans are 10% like
Explored.
and that's it. Come on, people. There's so many other places as well. Man hasn't stepped foot on every single part of the earth.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and there's a reason that saying if a tree falls in the forest when nobody's around to hear it doesn't
Yeah.
make a sound. Like,
Yep.
okay,
Right.
if a cryptid runs through the woods and no one's there to see it, does it exist?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
That's my girl.
Damn Skippy. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not the only ones in the galaxy, are we? If you're going to
Oh, I
think
don't
that
think
way,
so.
then good luck.
No, and the universe, according to science today, is ever expanding. They call it an
Mhm.
expanding universe, and that everything
right.
we may know about our universe may only be a fraction of it, what
Yeah.
it really is as
Yeah.
far as size goes.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Because it's exponential the way that it expands. At least that's what we think. We used to think that it was
Mhm.
shrinking because of gravity would eventually become this one big black hole and it dissolved and we'd all be doomed.
You know, and
Actually,
you're always going to have the people who say yes, no, blah 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 blah, that type of thing.
Mhm.
And I had a guy who contacted me on Monday, and I contacted him over a month ago when I had COVID. He just got onto my Facebook, and I had said to him, I said, "You have a son, don't you?" And he kept telling me no. I said, "Yeah, you do." He says, "No, I don't." "Yeah, you do." And okay, that's all the further it went. So then he contacted me on Monday, but Sunday when I'm sitting here, this picture came through of this young man. He said, "I'm his son." I said, "Okay." Telepathically, and I could see a vision of him. His hair was down, swooped like this. He was probably 16 or 17 years old. He had a plaid shirt on, and a pair of jeans. So who contacts me on Monday? He did.
No.
And I'm like, "This is your son." "No, it isn't." I said, "Yes, it is. This is your son."
Whoa.
And then, I said, "I think he drowned. That's the way he passed away." And he said, "Well, I've been married for 10 years. I said, "So?" I said, "I could see you when you were younger. You're pretty wild." I
Mhm.
said, "You had long blonde hair. You had on a yellow t-shirt, short sleeves, and jeans, and you had a belt on." I said, "I could see what you were doing. I won't say." You can use your imagination. Well, now he's in his middle 40s. So I said to him, he said, "Well, prove it that you're a medium." I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "What do you want me to do?" He says, "Tell me my wife's name." I said, "Give me a second." I said, "Okay, Anna?" He says, "Oh my God." I said, "What?" I said, "Am I right?" He goes, she goes by Anna, but her name's Annie." I said, "Okay." I said, "So now what do you want to do?" He says, "Well, guess my brother's name." I said, "Okay, give me a second." I go, I'm getting Robbie. I go, is that his name, Robbie? He goes, no, his name is Stan. I said, oh, really? I said, then what did I get Robbie from? And he goes, well, he went by Robbie. I thought, yeah, really?
Yeah.
I said, well, now how did I know those two?
Yeah, absolutely.
Two other two?
So Kay West wants to know if you're precognitive, if you see things before they happen, or
Yeah, I
if you
do.
can. You do? Okay.
I do. Uh-huh. And it was really weird. I just reconnected with one of my sisters, and she was going through some medical treatments, and I made her a dish, and I stopped over by, they own a bar. I stopped over there, and she was on the phone, and I said to her, I said, Susan, I said, I woke up at 3:00 in the morning. I said, oh my God. I said, I see Tony by a car. I said, it's either the hood or the trunk is up. I said, and he's doing something. I said, he's getting hit in the head with the trunk or the hood. So I walk in on Saturday after that, and he says, your sister told me that you had this premonition about me. I said, okay. And he's standing there smiling at me. I thought, what are you smiling at? He says, look at my forehead.
Oh.
I go, oh my God. And it was bleeding. Was I cutting a U? I said,
Aw.
where'd you get that from? And he says, the damn hood hit me. I said, are you kidding me? He said, no. He said, so what you told Susan was right. I'm like, oh my God. Because I warned her. Because Tony's bald. And you know, when you have thin skin on your head or anywhere, it bleeds easier.
Yeah.
And I don't think she believed me. And I said, Susan, can you kind of warn him? So she told him, and sure enough, he cut his head. It was like right down here in the forehead. I looked up at him. I'm just like, my mouth dropped.
It's amazing
Poor
though,
thing.
that you
Yeah.
have those gifts.
Right. It's definitely
So
It scares me because it's like, is this really going to happen or not? And do I say anything or don't I? Or what do you do?
okay, real quick. The scratching on the ankle or the foot.
Okay.
We yeah, go ahead.
I was sleeping in my daughter's bedroom by myself. I had a little whatever riff with my husband. So I went and slept in her room. And I came out here the next night and looked, because I wear like warm flannel pants to bed and socks. Like, oh, yep, because I'm cold. I have lupus. So I come out here and I lifted up my pant leg. Here's a scratch on my leg. I took a picture of it too. I said, what do you think of that? He goes, oh, the dog did it. I go, oh, go to hell. I go, how would the
Her
dog
paws
scratch
aren't this big.
No kidding. No kidding, right?
damn.
Come here, let me slap you. And I said, oh, you know what? You've got an answer for everything, don't you? You just have an answer for everything. I said, no, Something scratched me. Something scratched me in Heather's room, because that's where I think there's a portal in her room.
Why do you think that?
Because the house that we live in, he is a carpenter, and he remodeled it. It used to be a 1-bedroom house, just a kitchen and a bathroom and a living room. It used to be really small. Now it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, hot tub, everything. And I can
Nice.
feel it when I go in her room, that was used to be an outside wall. And I could feel it. And when I used to sleep in the room with her, there would be so many orbs coming out of that closet. I have pictures of them. They'd come out of that closet.
You felt there was an
It was
opening.
just really
Do you
strange.
feel like it was an opening from
Yep.
a previous building or just a dimensional type portal?
I think it's an opening that's coming out of the ground,
The land.
but it's out of it comes out of her closet. I go in, I can point to it, it's right there. But the funny thing was, in early January, I felt that there was something in our bedroom, and I was looking up at the ceiling. I have a camera in there, and I looked at the camera. Sure enough, you know what it was? I think I told Ken, lightning. I have a picture of it, and I have a video. It was lightning coming down from the ceiling, from above the door, just coming straight down, and it looked like lightning.
That's
Wow.
nuts.
Yeah. That's what Vic said to me. He said, what the hell did you do? I said, I sat there and watched it. What am I going to do? Am I going to go over there and what?
Fucking cover.
Well, maybe this is
I'm
part
not
of
going to put my head under the blankets.
you see cryptids and things that may or may not be interdimensional or have this kind of activity because you have
But the
this.
funny thing was, my dog was standing at the end of the bed and she was looking. I'm like, what are you looking at? And I could feel that if there was something, a dark cloud or something heavy over in that corner. But I couldn't see that with my eyes. Normally, the other stuff I could see it. So I looked on the camera on my phone. Sure enough, there it was.
Does the dog react to the? I mean, I don't think we got into that. When you saw the beasts, if you will, the dogmen or wolfmen on a property, what did the dog? How did the dog take that? How did?
She was just like me. When we saw it the first time, we were both stuck to the ground. It's a little Yorkie, and she was on the right side of me, and I couldn't move. I couldn't look at her, but she was stuck to the ground too, and she couldn't move.
I know she was. Done?
Do you think the beast paralyzed you?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. I think it was from them.
Yep.
I know it was from them.
Just
because after he left and went down the hill, down this hill through the two houses, my dog and I could move again.
That's intriguing.
That was weird.
Of course, you would think that the dog would be barking, especially like a Yorkie, but it doesn't take much to trigger a Yorkie.
It made her shut up. That's what I think. It made her shut up. But she senses when she's here right now, that when there's spirits around.
Dogs are very in tune to spiritual energy.
I mean,
and I've owned a lot of dogs. I used to raise wolves professionally. Okay. I used to raise wolves. Amazing creatures, extremely intuitive. They do have psychic abilities. They have the ability to see things before it happens. It's amazing. And when you live around wolves, you begin to interpret their behavior and understand what they're thinking, what they're saying, what they want, etc.
Easily.
Yeah.
And sometimes
I have
hide on me.
Yeah. My father is Muskogee Creek, 3/4 Native American Muskogee Creek, and I have what's called cat medicine. Even though I raise wolves, I have cat medicine, and cats are the same way, if not even more so. And I had at one point in time, I kid you guys not, I had 47 cats. Not in my house, not in my fucking house. No fucking way, baby. They lived outside. I didn't have to worry about snakes. I didn't have to worry about rats. I had no problems whatsoever. I had 47 cats at one time, but you begin to understand them and interpret their body language even. And it's amazing when you live with something like that. And, it's possible the more encounters you have with the Beast of Bray Road, perhaps you can interpret what that motherfucker's trying to tell you, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I imagine your only concern was Purina.
That my dog didn't get eaten. Well, like I said, the second time I told her to get in the house, and she ran right back in the house. Which normally she won't do that. She'll look at me like, "You come get me."
What kind of dog do you have? What kind of dog?
A little Yorkie. Although she's maybe 10 pounds.
How old is she?
She's going to be 16 in May.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow! So, with regards, her, obviously, her body language, you know what she needs, what she wants, when she wants it, and all those things. Has she ever picked up on any paranormal activity?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've got one video of her. She's on my bed, and the orb comes right past her face, and she turns and looks at it. She turned and watched it go past her.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I posted it on one of these other groups.
They're hyper aware.
Yeah, it went right past her, but she sees the stuff that I see.
Well,
it's
Sophia,
really strange, but she sees it.
Sophia, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Wizard's Table podcast. Thank you so much, baby. You look great. You look good. Nothing but love. Nothing but blessings.
Nice meeting everybody.
It was wonderful.
Nothing but respect.
Thank you.
Nice to talk to you. Absolutely.
Chris and Kristen, you guys hang on for a second. Mistress B, you guys hang on for a second. Also, I want to give some shout outs and gratitudes to a few people. Brandon Crody, Paranormal in the Funhouse, thank you so much. And of course, Chris and Kristen from Bigfoot and the Bunny